In just 45 years, one country went from a rising empire to total destruction. It started to world wars, created the deadliest regime in human history, and left an entire continent in ruins. This is the story of Germany, from Kaiser to Hitler. By 1900, Germany was the most powerful country in Europe. Its factories produced more steel than Britain. Its scientists won more Nobel Prizes than any other nation. Its army was the finest fighting force on earth. Kaiser Wilhelm II ruled with absolute confidence and absolute arrogance. He fired the brilliant Chancellor Otto von Bismarck, who had kept Europe at peace for decades. Wilhelm wanted glory. He wanted colonies. He wanted Germany to have its place in the sun. He built a massive navy to challenge Britain. He backed Austria-Hungary against Russia. He made enemies faster than friends. Europe was sitting on a powder keg, and in June 1914, someone lit the fuse. When Archduke Franz Ferdinand was assassinated in Sarajevo, Germany gave Austria-Hungary a blank check. Do whatever you want, we will back you up. It was the worst decision in German history. Within weeks, all of Europe was at war. Germany fought on two fronts simultaneously, against France and Britain in the west, against Russia in the east. The Schlieffen Plan, a bold strategy to knock out France in 6 weeks, failed, and Germany found itself trapped in exactly the war Bismarck had always warned against. For 4 years, millions of soldiers died in the trenches of the Western Front. Poison gas, machine guns, barbed wire. The Battle of Verdun alone killed 700,000 men. By 1918, Germany was exhausted. Its people were starving. Its allies were collapsing. On November 11, 1918, Germany signed the armistice. The war was over, but the humiliation was just beginning. The German Empire collapsed overnight. Kaiser Wilhelm fled to the Netherlands. A new republic was declared, the Weimar Republic, born in chaos and immediately blamed for losing the war. The Treaty of Versailles was devastating. Germany lost 13% of its territory and 10% of its population. Its military was reduced to 100,000 men, and it was forced to accept sole responsibility for starting the war, the infamous War Guild Clause. Then came the reparations minus 132 billion gold marks, an impossible sum. Germany tried to pay by printing money. The result was hyperinflation so extreme that people needed wheelbarrows full of banknotes to buy a loaf of bread. Life savings became worthless overnight. In 1923, a failed artist and army veteran named Adolf Hitler attempted a coup in Munich. It failed. He was arrested and sent to prison, but he wouldn't stay there long. In prison, Hitler wrote a book, Mein Kampf. It outlined his vision for Germany, a pure Aryan nation, free of Jews and communists, ruling over a vast empire in the East. Most people dismissed him as a lunatic, but then came the Great Depression. In 1929, the American stock market crashed. Banks collapsed around the world. In Germany, 6 million people lost their jobs. Hungry, desperate, humiliated, the German people were looking for someone to blame, and Hitler had answers. He blamed the Jews. He blamed the communists. He blamed the weak politicians who had stabbed Germany in the back in 1918. His Nazi party grew from a fringe movement to the largest party in Germany. In January 1933, President Hindenburg appointed Hitler as Chancellor. It was the beginning of the end. Hitler moved fast. Within months, he dismantled German democracy. The Reichstag, Germany's parliament, burned down under mysterious circumstances. Hitler used it as an excuse to seize emergency powers. Political parties were banned. Trade unions were dissolved. The press was controlled. Judges were replaced. The secret police, the Gestapo, arrested anyone who resisted. Jews were stripped of their citizenship. They lost their jobs, their businesses, their rights. In November 1938, the Kristallnacht, the night of broken glass, saw Jewish synagogues burned and thousands arrested across Germany. But internationally, Hitler seemed unstoppable. He rebuilt the German military in violation of Versailles. He marched into the Rhineland. He annexed Austria. He took Czechoslovakia. Britain and France watched and did nothing, hoping appeasement would satisfy him. It didn't. On September 1, 1939, Germany invaded Poland. Britain and France declared war. The Second World War had begun. For 2 years, Germany seemed invincible. Poland fell in weeks. France fell in 6 weeks. Denmark, Norway, Belgium, the Netherlands, all conquered. By 1941, Germany controlled most of Europe. Then Hitler made his fatal mistake. In June 1941, he invaded the Soviet Union, opening a second front against an enemy with unlimited manpower and resources. In December 1941, Japan attacked Pearl Harbor, bringing America into the war. And then the world learned the full horror of what the Nazi regime had been doing. The Holocaust, 6 million Jews, 2/3 of European Jewry, systematically murdered in death camps across occupied Europe. Auschwitz, Treblinka, Sobibor, Belzec, names that would become synonymous with evil. By 1943, the tide had turned. Germany suffered catastrophic defeats at Stalingrad and Kursk. Allied forces landed in Italy, then France. Soviet armies advanced from the east. On April 30, 1945, as Soviet forces fought street by street through Berlin, Adolf Hitler shot himself in his bunker. On May 8, 1945, Germany surrendered unconditionally. The country lay in ruins. 60 million people had died in the war Germany started. Entire cities were rubble, and the German people faced a reckoning unlike anything in history. Germany's story from 1900 to 1945 is a warning that no civilization should ever ignore. A modern, educated, cultured nation, home to Beethoven, Goethe, and Einstein, descended into the darkest depths of human evil in just a generation. How did it happen? That is a question historians still debate today. But one thing is certain: it can never be allowed to happen again. Subscribe to History Drop. Next week, we continue Germany's story. How a destroyed nation rebuilt itself into one of Europe's greatest democracies. See you there.